Hello, this is Winston Marsh, and today I'm talking to James Gillard. He's Managing Director of Insurance Made Easy, who've arranged this remarkable new insurance cover for teachers who are licensed with the AUSTSWIM program. James, this insurance makes a lot of sense, doesn't it, in these days when people are being sued by no win, no fee lawyers and for doing all sorts of things?
Oh, most definitely. We've been involved with the aquatics industry for many years now, and we probably have over 2,000 aquatics-based clients. This has helped us identify many gaps in current insurance situations, and after talking to AUSTSWIM for several years about this opportunity, AUSTSWIM grabbed it with open arms, and basically it is a safety net. It's just in case insurance.
Okay, so how much am I covered for and what am I covered for?
Okay, we'll start off with, we've got a public liability section, and that cover is $20 million. Now, that is quite a large amount of cover. In most cases, these days, most businesses only carry $5 million. So we're very pleased with being able to provide that amount of cover.
Now, tell me about public liability. What's some sort of examples of where that might be important?
Yeah, well, look, with public liability and working in a wet environment, most people probably just think of slips and trips. And when I think about it, that's the first thing that I think of. But there's so many other things that can actually happen. You inadvertently let a child under your supervision dive into a shallow part of the pool and they injure themselves. The parents claim medical expenses for their treatment of the child's injuries, or even worse, if the child is injured permanently, there may be some further compensation required. You may even just leave some teaching equipment out, obstructing the walkway of the pool deck, and a person trips and falls, suffering an injury. Even probably not even thinking outside the kids. A parent trips and injures themselves and claims against you, the swim teacher, for medical expenses and loss of wages due to the time off work.
Gee, those sorts of things you don't think of, aren't they, James? But they're very important. They could happen.
Oh, very much so. And basically what we would ask, that all our swim teachers are now insured automatically when we come to the categories. If there is any hint of any claim or any circumstance where an AUSTSWIM teacher is not sure of, we would love them to give us a call and we will guide them through the best way to manage that particular scenario, because basically if they don't notify us, somewhere it could jeopardise the claim down the track.
Now, what about the other leg of this insurance? I think it's called professional indemnity. What's the cover there, James? Yeah,
professional indemnity is basically, and we'll put it in layman's terms, protection for any error or omission that a swim teacher or even swim coach may make. So it is effectively professional negligence. And look, I'll give you some examples. A child nearly drowns in a home pool and is seriously impaired. The parents sue you, the swim teacher, alleging that you led them to believe their child's swimming skills were greater than they actually were. And on that basis, the level of supervision they gave the child was less than actually needed.
Wow.
This is quite serious to think about it. And what we say is that more often than not, with professional indemnity, it's the legal expenses that are usually rack up the bills. So whilst their claim ultimately may fail, it's leaving you with a very serious legal bill that you may or may not be able to cover off.
What about somebody you maybe coach and this person thought that they might become a champion swimmer and they don't make it? Is there a claim there? Or is
yeah, most definitely. It's similar circumstance in professional indemnity. Again, what is deemed to be a negligent act or error or omission. As a coach, you could be sued because someone has the expectations that you're coaching of becoming a champion, but they never make it. They say that you actually used outdated coaching techniques or provided to fail adequate supervision of their training program.
And there'd always be a no-win, no-fee lawyer ready to run that case against you, wouldn't there?
Oh, very much so. And so where there's any hint of a claim or you're concerned at all, give the office a call and we'll guide you through the best way to progress.
All right, who's covered? Oh, by the way, what was the cover under that second insurance?
That is $10 million, the professional indemnity.
Okay. Now, who's covered by this insurance?
All licensed AUSTSWIM teachers, whether they be employees, whether they be volunteers, or whether they be contractors earning up to $20,000 in a year or working 20 hours per week on average. And it includes even volunteering or working overseas. So most definitely, it's a worldwide cover.
But if you have clients who are paying you for swim lessons, would you be covered or would you be deemed to be an employer there?
No, if you have someone that is actually paying you for lessons, you are deemed to be an independent swim school, and as such, you would need to have your own independent insurance.
As any prudent business person should.
Most definitely.
Now, what's the term of the cover, James?
The term of the cover is 3 years. AUSTSWIM's licence actually runs for 3 years. So from the day you become officially licensed to the day that licence ceases, you are automatically covered for that 3 years.
So it's a pretty good idea to keep renewing your licence, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so.
Now, here's the $64 question. People will say...
Well, isn't it 64 million?
Yeah, 64 million. I work as an employee. Why do I need this insurance?
Look, there's a whole range of reasons. There is some cases where an employee can be sued personally for their actions. And I was just looking at some things on the... if you can do Google searches on things now, and it's quite easy for an individual to be held legally liable for their actions, even though they're actually an employee or a contractor. And we just look at some of the other things that could happen. You would expect as an employee or even a contractor that the company that you're working for does have adequate insurance, but you don't know. What happens if they don't? Did they remember to renew their insurance? Are they correctly insured? See, these are some of the questions that you have no control over, and as such, this is a safety net or a way just to be safe in case.
And James, sometimes an employer will default and say, no, our cover isn't going to look after you, you're on your own, it was your fault.
Yeah, that could also happen, most definitely. And there's, as I say, instances which I was looking at in Google where employees, even under the professional indemnity, can be fined for activities that they may have taken which were against their employer's direction.
Now, suppose, James, you do some volunteer work, maybe with scouts or senior citizens. What's the situation there?
Yeah, most definitely. Again, this is the same thing. We say, are you doing any volunteer work with local Cubs, Scouts, senior citizens, people with disabilities? And we also know that AUSTSWIM teachers go overseas and freely give of their time in working in disadvantaged countries. So again, the same scenario, this insurance covers you for those particular sets of circumstances.
And what would happen if I'm at a barbecue one day and somebody asked me for advice as a swim teacher about their kid in the pool and something went wrong? Is that covered?
Yeah, exactly. So this cover is, we'll call it worldwide cover, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you just happen to be in that situation, you might jump in the pool and give one of the kids a short 5-minute lesson, or you're in fact supervising them. That particular scenario is covered off by this insurance.
Golly, you're not at work, so your employer's cover doesn't cover you, so you're on your own unless you've got this insurance.
Yeah, very much so.
Wow, it's most important. It's a wonder we haven't had it before, James. I'm glad you've done some research.
Oh, yeah, well, again, because we've been involved in it for such a long period of time and we have such a large client base, this really has given us the opportunity to identify the gaps and work with AUSTSWIM for their input as to how the gaps can occur, and this is how the insurance programs come about.
Now, I imagine if I'm a resident in Australia but I go overseas to do some volunteer work, I'd be covered, wouldn't I?
Yeah, again, you are covered worldwide, but like all insurance policies that are written in Australia, they are actually under Australian law, so therefore that any action against you would have to be taken in Australian courts.
Uh-huh. Well, there could be some thoughts need to be given if somebody's going overseas. They'd best talk to you before they go on that sort of situation.
Yeah, most definitely, and we can guide them how to best manage the risk scenario of what they're doing.
And of course, if they move overseas permanently, then the cover doesn't extend, does it, James?
No. So again, it has to. If they moved overseas and they're doing AUSTSWIM work, we are looking at doing programs for AUSTSWIM in other countries. However, they haven't developed yet, so it is really only in Australia that this cover applies. However, they are covered for worldwide work.
Now, if I'm listening as a pool owner, is there any joy for me in hearing about this insurance?
Most definitely. There's, I suppose, a whole range of scenarios where whilst you guide your employer, your contractor, they may do something that you do not allow, and which may invalidate your own insurance, and again, because you're not aware of all the rules and conditions. So this is where this particular gap insurance covers you, the pool owner, off. And I'd say what a great way to promote your swim school by saying that all your swim teachers, if they're AUSTSWIM licensed, they are licensed and insured. This is a guarantee that you can actually go out to the market with.
And in this very litigious world, I think that's a great guarantee to be able to give, that the people are qualified and they're insured.
Oh, very much so. As we mentioned in the very opening section about how it came about and so on, the risk management side of any insurance program is paramount. And AUSTSWIM and ourselves, as I say, have identified many gaps in current insurance programs. And AUSTSWIM have decided to become the world leader in aquatic education, providing this guarantee both to the children and the adults entrusted to their care and their parents that all their swim teachers are licensed and insured.
Well, that must be a breakthrough in worldwide approaches, is it, James?
Yeah, we are not aware of any other program within the world, and actually I'm quite excited myself that we've actually become a world leader in an insurance program. There is, to our knowledge, there is nothing else available in the world like this, and I take my hat off to AUSTSWIM for embracing the idea of this program.
Bottom line, James, it's peace of mind for everybody who's involved, isn't it?
Oh, very much so. So whether you be the swim teacher, whether you be the employer, whether you be the contractor, you're doing volunteer work, or you're in fact one of the parents of the kids going into the teacher's care, it is that pure peace of mind. Again, this guarantee is in place. All the teachers are accredited, licensed, and insured.
Well, that's been great, James. Thanks for your explanation. It's made a difficult subject very clear. I've been talking to James Gillard from the Made Easy Financial Group, Insurance Made Easy. Thank you, James.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity of having a little bit of a discussion about the program. And we welcome calls from any of the swim teachers if they're not sure about how it applies to their situation. So I'll just give you the phone number. It's 03 9757 8181 anytime if they've got questions.
James Gillard, thank you.